Hello, welcome back to Survivor LU Afterparty. I am here with the sixth member of the jury, Idris Koyate. Is that how I say it?
Oh yeah, perfect.
Okay, Idris Koyate. How are you, Idris?
Sound pretty good. Can't complain. Excited to be here, kind of. I didn't think I'd be doing an after party this soon, but happy to be here. Happy to be a part of this. It's a fun time.
So let's get into it. So I asked the same question everybody else. What was the reaction coming onto the field day one and seeing 17 other people ready to play this intense game?
Man, that's a great question. I'll be honest. I had no idea what I was doing there. I've never seen an episode of Survivor a day in my life, and I was chatting with a couple people. I got there a little bit late, and the field was right next to my dorm room. And so I got there late because I could watch from the staircase, like how many people were there. And then it finally hit me out. Oh, snap. Like, this is real. And I start walking out and, all these people were greeting me and it was awesome meeting some new people, but they're like actual Survivor show watchers. And so they all have like a secret agenda of like what they want to get accomplished. And me, I had no idea. So it was fun to be there.
So what made you want to play the game? Because if you hadn't seen a single episode before, something like Survivor LU, what piqued your interest in that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. A lot of it was peer pressure, if I'll be 100% honest with you. It was peer pressure mixed with like senior year. Let's try some new stuff. What can we get into? And Survivor LU was perfect for it. Did I know that it would last the way it lasted? No clue. I thought it would have been like the first, one or two people out. And then, didn't plan on getting super invested, but, here we are.
So who peer pressured? Did you know somebody who played season one, or you just saw a flyer, everyone was like, you should do this?
Yeah. So I had a mutual friend through Grace, actually, who was like, yeah, I think Idris should be great for you. You should tell him to apply. And that mixed with a couple of friends. After they heard that news, everyone else was like, oh, yeah, you have to play. You have to play. And I was like, all right, sounds good. I'll do an interview. So
there you go. The rest is history. So you get put onto the Kalahari tribe with CK, Rachel, Hallie, Lily, and Jacob.
Can't forget my feelings leader.
Hang on. I can't. Yeah. So you get put onto the Kalahari tribe with CK, Jacob, Rachel, Hallie, and Lily. Yeah. What was your initial thoughts of them? Like, what drew you to an alliance with CK and Jacob at first, and then the CK alliance until he was eventually voted out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first things first, we were the first mixed tribe. And so that immediately was like, ooh, interesting. Should be fun. And then I think the guys' tribe just kind of naturally formed between me, Jacob, and CK. So I think that just naturally happened. And then obviously we know what happened with Jacob and the whole idol situation. And so that just naturally broke off. I think the group of me, CK, Hallie, and Lily was a really tight-knit group. And that's something I'm super proud of. And I think Rachel just right off the bat just didn't fit with like the rest of our five. And then, Jacob. So, but it was really fun.
So at what point in the game did you kind of realize what it was and how to play? Because you had a little bit of a shift. We had a lot of shifts this season.
Yeah.
People coming into the game not knowing how to play and then becoming some of the more dominant and physical and strategic threats. So when did that kind of switch for you? Like, okay, it's time to start actually playing the game.
Yeah. I think I had two switches. I think my first one was when CK dropped the bomb on us that Jacob, had the idol but gave it away to someone else. And so that was kind of like oh snap, like I need to start trying and like I need to start listening to like what is actually happening, because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on that I genuinely had no idea. I was kind of like reserved in the sense of like, not really going to try too hard about this. And then once Jacob got voted out and we had like our first blind side, I was like, ooh, I kind of like this. I like where this is going. And so that was like my first shift. And then my second shift, honestly, was when CK got booted out. And so obviously we were a tight knit group and CK kind of ran the pack. And so seeing him get booted out after a pretty big tribal and lots of people chatting and people switching and all that fun stuff. And so CK getting booted out was like, all right, well, if I'm going to try to win this thing, it starts here. And so, but little did we know COVID was coming.
Yeah. So we'll get into that later, but we're at the stage now where you guys are losing challenges. You probably have one of the one of the worst try performances in Survivor LU history. You win that challenge, but it was only because Masai and Tiwi threw. So you guys are kind of like on a path of sticking together and playing close together. Was there ever a moment where you thought you should break from CK and Hallie and Lily, or were you kind of like, these are my four, this is the final four, and then the final three, whoever isn't in that? Or was there ever a moment where you really debated going to another side?
Yeah, and that's a good question. So believe it or not, I think all the losses that we took definitely made us closer. I think once Jacob got out, we were like, all right, let's stick to this. And then I forget that challenge after I think it was the block building one. I forget what it was, where we intentionally threw that challenge. And so we threw it because our group was tight. We had the numbers to throw it. And so it kind of worked out perfectly. One thing I didn't get aired as much was I think since like week 1 or 2, Jay High and I met somewhere, and like we're like, all right, well, I guess we can start talking and kind of see where this goes. I didn't know Jay High and CK were that close anyway, so I kind of kept it close.
Yeah, and that's why it wasn't shown as much, because the Jay High CK bond was so much tighter.
Right.
And I feel like CK was with both of you guys, so it wasn't shown as much due to that level of closeness.
Yeah. And I'll take it. Like, I'm not the guy to, especially with people I just didn't know them. And so, like, I'm not going to reach out to the All Guys tribe that I just didn't really know. If they would have came up to me, I would have maybe, chatted a little bit. But, like, All Girls tribe didn't really talk to them. And so we were also a little heartbroken that, the whole group chat situation that we weren't part of. And so that really hurt our feelings. So we're going to let them know.
So, yeah, a lot of people don't talk about how real that game can get sometimes and how personal it can get. Yeah. Did that actually truly affect you in a sense where you weren't a part of that group chat, or were you kind of like, it's a game, I don't really care? Or did that actually get to you a little bit that you weren't included in that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did get to us, which is weird because we had the least amount of people. So you would think that, why wouldn't they want to reach out to us? So maybe we can partner with, their bigger tribe, and we'll definitely have the numbers that way. And so it was just like, all right, fine, leave us out. I was definitely a little heartbroken a little bit, but we got over it. Definitely, once again, it made us stronger. So, I mean, it kind of didn't work out for the rest of the people who started that group chat without us.
So speaking of which, you guys make the merge. It's that huge, crazy week. It's CK versus Delaney. If Delaney doesn't play the idol, it's more pandemonium. Did you think going into that Chadwick would flip, or were you so confident in the fact that you guys got it?
Sam, let me tell you this. I've never been more confident in my life that Chadwick was going to vote for us. Like, I just didn't see the reason for him not to vote with us.
Yeah.
And like, when I say there's only a few things that like I'm 100% confident on, like that was one of them. And like, even to this day, I'm watching the episodes, and, Chad and I are good friends now. And so we text every now and then. And the day that episode aired, Chad like messaged me and said, once again, I am so sorry. I'm like, this is a year later. And so, but yeah, like that still gets me to this day, because that would have been a game changer in the entire game. Obviously, because CK has all these different connections, and to get like one of the big three out, I would say Ethan, Delaney, and CK were like one of the big three. To get one of them out would have been ideal. I also didn't think I understood the magnitude of like the fallout of CK, Ethan, and Delaney, and like how much they didn't like CK, which is understandable. He was a sketchy guy, but we liked him.
So CK goes, what was the feeling there? Like, we're done, there's nothing left? Or were you trying to immediately find a way to climb out from under that? Or did you think, it's over, I'm next, there's no way I'm not gonna make it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't the end of the world, because if you think about the way that second group kind of merges, I don't know how to put it lightly, but we kind of had like the other groups as rejects, if that makes sense. So everyone who like wasn't super duper connected in their tribe, they kind of just joined Kalahari, because like they knew how tight we were. And so I wasn't too worried in the sense of like, I wasn't worried that we lost CK, because obviously that sucks, and he was a great leader and all that fun stuff. But like, we had the J Highs, and we had the Melanies, and we had Didn't know if we had Chadwick or not. Still a little sketched out about that. But after that, he was very, very remorseful. And I was like, all right, we got Chadwick for sure.
So that week happens and COVID hits 5 days later. You guys are sent home. Walk me through that feeling, because I remember that all too well. We were all there when COVID made us all go home, continue doing online school. What was that like for you in that period of time going home? Not just in terms of the game, but like just in life.
Yeah, so it was a weird kind of season. So for me, I was an RA on campus, and then so I stayed on campus, believe it or not, for a good amount. I was there until like the end of May. So whole COVID thing broke out in probably March or so. And so I was there on campus until May or so, and then it was just weird, just in my dorm for the most part. And then my friends thankfully lived off campus, so it was either at the dorm or off campus. And then I figured out Waffle House, you can kind of like do takeout orders. And so gained a good amount, good 20, 30 pounds, thanks to Waffle House in general. So it's not like good old all-star special. But yeah, it was just this whole season of just like, all right, well, might as well figure out how to start using my laptop again and how Zoom and Microsoft Teams work, because it's going to be a lot of virtual stuff. And so it was just getting used to that. And so I knew like a lot of things were going to be impacted. I had a summer internship lined up at this church here in Florida. And so just like, man, like, are we still going to be doing this? And obviously sports was out. And so that really broke my heart. And so
yeah,
just wasn't a lot going on.
So yeah, a couple of the cast members like you, Sophie, Ethan, Melanie, you guys all got or had to stay on campus. What was the vibe of the campus like? Because I went home, I wouldn't know. And a lot of people went home. So there was only like a good selection of people who were actually on campus. What was campus life like now that all classes were online? Just tell us about that.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a ghost town pretty much. Think about like, kind of when like combo was happening or convocations happening, and like, everyone's packed into the Vine Center or in the new arena, and like there's no one on campus because everyone's in like convocation. It's like that's kind of how it felt. Like it was just absolutely no one there. And like maybe you'd see one person, but like you're socially distanced on this tape before you can even get your food. And so yeah, it was just it was a weird time. It was a ghost town pretty much. Wasn't much open.
Yeah. For those who don't know, convocation is the mandatory chapel that Liberty students go to Wednesdays and Fridays in the afternoon. So Survivor comes back a month later. You guys aren't doing Survivor for a month.
Yeah.
Were you able to get right back into it and remember we're voting Austin, or did you kind of have to get your bearings again and be like, wait, how do I play this again?
Yeah, no idea what I was doing. Completely forgot. And then once I saw CK kind of on that on the jury, I was like, all right, well, this is who this game is for. And but yeah, I had to get my bearings again, had to remember where I left off. All right, CK and Delaney just had the big vote. And so we knew, I kind of remembered that it was kind of like this side against this side, like the good guys versus the bad guys in my eyes. And so that's kind of remember where I left off. And then after that, I was like, all right, well, I got to figure out how to win this game. So
you guys gain control again. And at some point after Delaney is voted out, or during during Delaney's whole process of being voted out, you and Ethan strike up an unlikely alliance. How deep was that alliance? Like, when did that start? How did that start? Who reached out to who? Why do you think it ended the way that it did? Because it kind of seemed like it was a little bit of a surprise that you were voted out.
Yeah, no, I would say if I had any regrets in that show, it was partnering up with Ethan. Not because he's a bad guy, great guy to partner with, but like looking back at it, I had such a great alliance. I had the squad with me. And like at the time, Ethan didn't have an idol. And like after Austin got voted out, it only made sense for him to get voted out. But, after learning how to play Survivor, this word got brought up every single episode, and this whole building the resume thing. And so like I had to eventually start shifting my thoughts of like, man, do I want to just coast on by, or can I spice it up a little bit and kind of see what I can do? So I knew for sure, like I had Chadwick kind of on my side. I knew for sure I had Hallie on my side. And so it was a matter of like, all right, Ethan obviously has nothing, like he's going home next week if I want him to. And so I was like, let's listen to Ethan. Let's hear him out. So I'm pretty sure, I want to say he reached out to me. Could be the other way around. That makes sense. And then, yeah, I just kind of entertained it. And so in the beginning, it was nothing like, crazy. In the beginning, he was just like, what do I have to do for you not to vote me?
Right.
And so that's when we worked together for that one vote. I forget who got voted out. Was it the girl? I can't remember who we voted out together.
Delaney got voted out, and then Lily was after that.
Gotcha. I think, well, he was a part of the Delaney vote, obviously, because it was either him or Delaney.
Yeah.
And so I think we said, I mean, first things first, your only option is to vote with Delaney. And so he knew that. And so after that, it was just a matter of, all right, I'm going to keep Ethan at my hip because I have him here. And kind of went from there. So wasn't my brightest decision, hindsight, but for the time being, it kind of worked out. So
you and Ethan strike up this little alliance. You're kind of running the show. You're the most person with the most control. And then Jai brings up the fake advantage. Was that the reason you wanted to flip on him the way that you did? Or was it kind of, that was the straw that broke the camel's back? I'm annoyed with Jai. I don't want to play this game with him anymore. What caused you to flip on Jai when he was the one who was coming to you guys and trying to work with you?
Yeah, no, that vote was just out of pure emotion. There was just no logic involved at all. Because once again, another time for us to vote out Ethan, and it would have made sense. Like everyone said in the show, the alliance, the thing that Jai had didn't make any sense to us. It was very wordy. He explained it to us in like a Zoom call. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, it sounds pretty cool. If this works out, man, then congrats. And then I think literally everyone was at a spot where it was like, Jai, you're just trying too hard. And like, we're all just getting frustrated. And then like, I think it was pretty darn close to a unanimous vote of like, all right, everyone's just get Jai out. We'll figure out what's going to happen next week. But for now, let's just get Jai. And so, yeah, that was that.
So moments after Jai gets voted out, you guys go into your immunity challenge. What isn't shown much on camera is how quickly the Zoom games work. So it would be 3 people a night, 3 challenges a night. So move at a constant pace. So Jai is voted out. You guys go into the Superlatives challenge where you're very, very popular in that challenge. Was that your tell that it was your time to go? Everyone's going to be targeting you, or were you still pretty like, so it's pretty revealing, but I think I'm okay. Like what was the reaction after that?
So it was actually, believe it or not, my tell was, I knew I was going down. It was actually Jai's tribal. And it's either Jai's tribal or something else where we're talking about my likability. I think Ethan even brought it up, like how likable I was. I was like, So now people are starting to get it in their brains. And definitely the superlatives definitely won me over. It was that right there. And I was like, yeah, well, people are starting to catch on. And that's where I kind of knew this is it.
You talk a lot about how you were like you should have voted out Ethan, but you were very adamant that Victoria was on your hit list at least 3 times a week. What about Victoria made you so adamant to get her out? And are you annoyed to this day that you went before you got to make that happen? We can't give any spoilers of what happened to Victoria. Next week, this upcoming weekend is the season finale, so we can't give away. So what about Victoria made you want to vote her out?
Well, Sam, I just knew that Victoria was always against us. And that she, once we got Austin out, I knew for sure that like she just didn't like us. And she was obviously a part of the girls' tribe, so I didn't like them. And so, man, there's just something about it. And I was just like, we just got to get her out. But yeah, I just never did it. Like her name like didn't even come up after that. I'd get like all my feelings out, and then nothing happened. And she survived another week and another week after that. And I just didn't know what to do.
So you're voted out. It's a 4-2-1 vote. And Ethan and Melanie have betrayed you. Is there anything that you regretted or do regret at this time that you wish you could have done differently that could have secured you a spot at the end? Or do you think you did all that you can do?
Nah, like I said earlier, I think the biggest regret was partnering with Ethan. I think we get him out earlier. That leaves just Sophie and Victoria. They're going to want to partner with Hallie. And Hallie obviously was pretty loyal. Even that whole group was loyal, man. Couldn't really tell with Melanie, but like even if that's the case, like Melanie would have gotten officially voted out. And so that's the only big regret. I'm gonna stand by decisions I made because I made them. And so, I'm happy with that. But overall, I would say it's a decent game. I think looking back at it, I didn't realize how much the likability portion of it would have gotten me out. You know what I mean? In the sense of like, man, if everyone likes me, then they wouldn't have put me on the to vote. And so I don't know. You can correct me because you're the producer, man. But I don't think I received any votes until that tribal council.
You came away from that season with only 4 votes ever cast against you.
Yeah, and so I think a lot of that was due to just being like kind of low key, but like just being likable with everybody. And so like I knew I was on a lot of people's radar, but not enough to like get them to vote me. And so, man, yeah, that last superlative right there, I think definitely put me on a lot more people's radar.
You talked about before you got voted out how you might have wanted to keep Jay High around for a little bit. Do you think if you had stuck with Jay High and actually worked with him for a long term, that you would have beaten him at the end if you two had made it there together?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I think the resume portion of it all, I think just the way I played in the beginning was just like, all right, we're gonna follow CK, see what he does. Obviously, this guy's super sketchy.
Yeah.
And then he gets voted out. Eventually, I knew eventually he was going to get voted out because he's just way too sketchy of a guy. And so after that, I mean, it was just a numbers game. And I think I was closer with the rest of the group than Jay High was. I think the rest of the group kind of felt Jay High just kind of, I guess, quote unquote, trying too hard, I guess. And so I think I could have beaten him out at the end. Moving close.
So last question for you. This upcoming weekend is the season finale, the final 6. Chadwick, Ethan, Hallie, Melanie, Sophie, Victoria. Without giving away who wins, who gets voted out, who the final 3 is, what are you and a jury member looking for whoever's in that final 3? Who would get your vote? Or not who would get your vote? I can't give anything away. But why would someone get your vote?
Yeah, no, that's a great question as well. And as I think about that, I think I really enjoy just resume and the sense of like, all right, who have you been connected to? Like, who have you been working with to get you this far along? I think so. It's that combined with like, all right, has this person just been riding the coattails, or this person has just been not really playing much, but just somehow just finesses the votes. And so I think those are 2 of the key things for me. So resume, and like, I don't like someone who just sits there and like doesn't really play much, but somehow makes it this far. I think someone called it a scapegoat in the past. Is that the right term? I'm not a Survivor guy, but is it a scapegoat?
No, you're right. Yeah, scapegoat.
Yeah.
Or goat.
Yeah. So if someone's a goat, a wrong goat as a Survivor goat, I don't want them to win. So I want the actual goat.
Yeah. You made an interesting comment that we might have to correct. We can cut this out if not.
Yeah.
You said at the very end, I'll be back eventually. I'll be back eventually. You graduated shortly after that. Are we ever going to see Idris come back eventually, or has life moved on for you since Survivor?
No. If you guys have another Survivor and somehow the alumni or the previous Survivor players are playing, I will finesse my way to get back to Virginia and play another game of Survivor. I
already shot our all-star season.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I can cut this out if it is unnecessary.
No, you're good. It's hilarious.
We shot, we filmed a lot of our seasons already. So we have already shot our first all-star second chance season.
Well,
so
shoot.
In the future, Idris, should we ever call you?
Yeah.
Would you live in Virginia for an entire semester just to play Survivor again?
I forget that that's a commitment right there. I have to live in Virginia. And I'll be honest, Sam, if you email me or you call me at the right time, I will very heavily consider it. Obviously, we got to see where life is at, but that's definitely it.
I mean, the only reason we didn't call you already is because you literally live in another state and you graduated. But it's okay. Life finds a way, obviously.
Just out of curiosity, are you allowed to say who was invited that I know? Is there anyone this season that was on the All-Star special?
I can tell you once the cameras are not rolling anymore, but we have
fair enough.
Keep that secret.
Yeah, keep it secret. I don't blame you.
Well, Idris, thank you so much for doing this season. You were a ball of energy throughout the entire time. So many people thought you were hilarious. loved your confessionals, and at some point you just kind of became this powerhouse of this guy's like, oh my gosh, is it going to win the thing?
Yeah.
And I always find that the people who don't know anything about the game going in always become not getting choked up. I just got
it's all right if you are, man. It was a tough week for me too.
The best players are the ones who come in not knowing anything and figure it out along the way. I don't know if you know who this is, but they're the Richard Hatches, the very first Survivor winner of all time, who just figured out along the way. So I think you kind of became that a little bit. Sorry, I had to go at final 7, but you made it farther than you thought. And I think that a lot of people thought you would have made it.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that. And thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Thanks, Sam. It means a lot. Pleasure to be compared to Richard Haskins. He's a great guy. Even better Survivor player. We will see you guys next week to cover the finale of Survivor LU Season 2 at Odds. Bye. Yep.